Welcome to Code Your English, the home to learn and grow fast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another powerful episode here at Code Your English. I am very happy that you are here today. If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you are a regular listener, thank you so much for coming back again. This podcast is created especially for English learners who want to improve their listening and speaking skills in a simple and relaxed way. Here we talk about useful life topics while practicing English together. My goal is to help you learn English step by step with simple words, clear ideas, and easy sentences so that you can understand everything and feel more confident when you speak. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting and important topic. Being social is a skill. Many people think that some people are naturally social. They believe that these people are born confident, friendly, and good at talking with others. At the same time, many people believe that they are just shy or not good with people. They think, "This is my personality. I cannot change it." But the truth is very different. Being social is not a talent that only a few people have. It is a skill, and like every skill, it can be learned and improved with practice. In modern life, social skills are very important. Every day we meet different people in many situations. We talk with friends, classmates, co-workers, neighbors, and sometimes even strangers. In these situations, our ability to communicate and connect with others makes a big difference. Good social skills help us build strong friendships because people enjoy spending time with someone who listens, understands, and communicates well. Social skills also help us in our professional life. When we can talk clearly, share ideas, and work well with others, we often have better opportunities at work. Another important benefit of social skills is confidence. When you feel comfortable talking with people, you feel more relaxed and more sure of yourself. Conversations become easier, and you start to enjoy meeting new people instead of feeling nervous or afraid. Social skills also play a very important role in learning English. When you are social, you are more willing to start conversations, ask questions, and practice speaking. This practice helps you improve your pronunciation, vocabulary, and fluency much faster. As you listen to this podcast, I encourage you not only to listen, but also to practice speaking. You can pause the podcast sometimes and repeat some sentences aloud. This is a very powerful way to improve your English. The more you repeat and practice, the more natural your English will become. So relax, listen carefully, and enjoy learning something new while improving your English skills at the same time. Today we will explore together how being social is a skill that anyone can learn, including you. What does being social really mean? Now let's talk about an important question. What does it really mean to be social? Many people misunderstand this idea. When they hear the word social, they imagine someone who talks all the time, someone who is always the loudest person in the room, or someone who can speak with anyone without feeling nervous. Because of this image, many people think, "I am a quiet person, so I am not social." But this idea is not correct. Being social does not mean talking all the time, and it does not mean being loud or extremely outgoing. Being social simply means being able to connect with other people in a positive and comfortable way. It means creating small moments of communication where people feel respected, understood, and welcomed. Sometimes being social can be as simple as saying hello to someone, asking a kind question, or listening carefully when someone is speaking. These small actions may seem very simple, but they are actually very powerful. They help people feel that they are not alone and that someone cares about what they say. Another important part of being social is understanding other people. This means paying attention to their words, their feelings, and their ideas. When someone is talking, a social person does not only wait for their turn to speak. Instead, they listen carefully and try to understand the message. Good listening is one of the most important social skills. When people feel that you truly listen to them, they feel respected and valued, and this makes communication much stronger. Being social also means sharing ideas and thoughts in a friendly and respectful way. This does not mean speaking for a long time or giving big speeches. Sometimes sharing a simple opinion or telling a short story from your day can create a good conversation. Communication becomes more interesting when both people share their ideas and experiences. This exchange of thoughts helps people learn from each other and build stronger connections. There are several simple skills that help people become more social. One important skill is starting conversations. Many people feel nervous about this, but starting a conversation can be very simple. You can ask a question, give a friendly greeting, or make a small comment about the situation around you. Another important skill is asking questions. Questions show that you are interested in the other person and that you want to understand them better. For example, you might ask about someone's work, their hobbies, or their plans for the weekend. Listening is another key social skill. When someone is speaking, try to focus on their words instead of thinking about what you will say next. Sometimes a simple reaction like, "That's interesting," or "I understand," can show that you are paying attention. Social people also know how to show interest in others. This means responding kindly, asking follow-up questions, and showing that you appreciate the conversation. We can see social skills in many simple situations in daily life. For example, imagine you are in a class. Talking with your classmates before or after the lesson is a form of social interaction. You might ask them how the lesson was or if they understood the homework. This small conversation creates a friendly environment and helps people feel comfortable together. Another example is greeting your neighbors when you see them. A simple, "Good morning," or "How are you today?" can build a positive relationship over time. Social skills are also very important in the workplace. When you speak with coworkers, share ideas during meetings, or ask someone for help with a task, you are using social skills. These interactions help people work better as a team and solve problems more easily. Even small conversations during a coffee break can help build trust and friendship between coworkers. So when we think about being social, we should remember that it is not about talking more than everyone else. It is about creating positive communication with others. It includes listening, understanding, asking questions, sharing ideas, and showing genuine interest in people. These are simple skills that anyone can learn and practice. When we understand this clearly, we begin to see that being social is not something special that only a few people can do. It is a set of everyday skills that help us connect with the people around us and build stronger, more meaningful relationships. Why many people think social skills are natural talent. Now let's talk about something many people believe. A lot of people think that social skills are a natural talent. They believe that some people are simply born confident, friendly, and comfortable when talking to others. When they see someone who speaks easily in conversations, who laughs with people, and who can start a discussion without fear, they often think, that person is naturally social. At the same time, they may think the opposite about themselves. They might say, I am shy, or I am not good with people. Some people even believe that their personality cannot change, so they accept the idea that they will always feel uncomfortable in social situations. This belief is very common, but it is not completely true. The truth is that most confident and social people were not born with perfect social skills. In many cases, they learned these skills slowly through experience and practice. When you see someone speaking comfortably in a group, you are only seeing the result of their practice. You do not see the moments in the past when they also felt nervous, made mistakes, or did not know what to say. Like any other skill, social communication improves with time and repetition. Think about learning English. When you first started learning English, it probably felt difficult. You may have struggled to understand conversations, remember vocabulary, or pronounce words correctly. At that time, it may have seemed like fluent speakers had a special talent that you did not have. But as you continued studying, listening, and practicing, your English slowly improved. Step by step, you became more comfortable with the language. This improvement did not happen because you were suddenly born with a talent for English. It happened because you practiced and gave yourself time to learn. Social skills work in a very similar way. At first, conversations may feel uncomfortable. You might feel shy when talking to new people, or you might worry about saying something wrong. But the more you practice small conversations, the easier they become. With time, your brain becomes more familiar with these situations, and your confidence begins to grow. Just like learning English, social communication becomes easier when you continue practicing it in real life. We can also compare social skills to learning a sport. Imagine someone who plays football, basketball, or tennis very well. When we watch them play, it may look natural and effortless, but behind that performance are many hours of practice, training, and repetition. At the beginning, they probably missed many shots, made mistakes, and struggled with their movements. Over time, their body and mind learned how to perform better. The same thing happens with social skills. The more you practice talking, listening, and interacting with people, the more natural it feels. Another good example is learning how to drive a car. The first time someone drives, they often feel nervous and unsure. They must think about many things at the same time: the steering wheel, the mirrors, the road, and the speed. It can feel overwhelming. But after practicing many times, driving becomes much easier. Eventually, the driver does many actions automatically without thinking too much. Social skills can develop in the same way. At first, you may think carefully about what to say or how to start a conversation. Later, these actions begin to feel natural because your brain has learned them through experience. When people say, "I am just not a social person," they are often describing their current level of experience, not their true ability. Just because something feels difficult now does not mean it will always be difficult. With patience and practice, anyone can improve their ability to communicate with others. Social confidence is not a gift that only a few people receive. It is a skill that grows slowly with effort and real-life interaction. The most important idea to remember is this: social skills are learned, not born. Some people may begin practicing earlier in life, so they appear more confident today. But this does not mean others cannot learn the same skills. Just like learning English, learning a sport, or learning to drive, social communication becomes easier when you practice regularly and give yourself time to improve. Every small conversation is a step forward, and each experience helps you become more comfortable and confident with people. Why social skills are important in life. Now let's talk about why social skills are so important in our lives. Many people think social skills are only useful for people who like talking a lot or for people who work in communication jobs. But in reality, social skills are important for almost everyone. They help us build relationships, grow in our careers, feel more confident, and learn from the people around us. When we improve our social skills, many areas of our life can become easier and more enjoyable. One of the most important benefits of good social skills is building better friendships. Human beings are social by nature, which means we naturally need connection with other people. When we can communicate well, listen carefully, and show interest in others, it becomes easier to build strong and healthy friendships. Friends feel comfortable with someone who listens, understands, and communicates kindly. Even small actions like asking how someone is doing, remembering something important about them, or sharing a simple conversation can help create meaningful relationships. Over time, these small social moments build trust and friendship. Social skills are also very important for career opportunities. In today's professional world, many jobs require people to communicate with co-workers, clients, and managers. Even if someone is very talented or knowledgeable, it can be difficult to succeed without good communication skills. For example, during a job interview, employers are not only looking at your qualifications or education, they are also observing how you speak, how clearly you explain your ideas, and how comfortable you are when communicating. A person who can express ideas clearly and interact respectfully often leaves a stronger impression. Another important area where social skills help is networking. Networking simply means building professional relationships with other people. When you meet new people at work, conferences, or events, these connections can sometimes lead to new opportunities. Someone you meet today might introduce you to a future job, a new project, or useful knowledge. But these opportunities often begin with a simple conversation. Being able to greet people, ask questions, and show interest helps you build these valuable connections over time. Social skills also play a big role in building personal confidence. When you feel comfortable talking to people, you begin to feel more relaxed in many social situations. Instead of feeling nervous when meeting someone new, you start to feel curious and open to conversation. Each positive interaction gives you more confidence. This confidence grows slowly, and it helps you face new situations more easily. For example, speaking in a small group discussion or sharing your ideas during a meeting becomes less stressful when you have practiced communicating with others. Another reason social skills are important is that they improve overall communication. Communication is not only about speaking, it also includes listening, understanding, and responding in a respectful way. When people communicate well, they can solve problems more easily and work together more effectively. This is especially important in teamwork situations. In many workplaces, people must cooperate to complete projects or solve challenges. Good social communication helps teams share ideas, understand different perspectives, and find better solutions. Social skills are also helpful in situations like public speaking. Many people feel nervous when they need to speak in front of others, whether it is in a meeting, a classroom, or a presentation. But when someone has practiced communicating and interacting with people regularly, public speaking becomes easier. They learn how to organize their thoughts, explain ideas clearly, and connect with their audience. For language learners, social skills are especially important because they help with language practice. Learning a language is not only about studying grammar and vocabulary. It is also about using the language with real people. When you are comfortable starting conversations, asking questions, and sharing ideas, you create more opportunities to practice English. Every conversation becomes a chance to improve pronunciation, learn new words, and understand how people naturally communicate. Another wonderful benefit of social interaction is that it allows us to learn new ideas from other people. Every person has different experiences, knowledge, and perspectives. When we talk with others, we are often exposed to new ways of thinking. Someone might share advice, explain a different point of view, or tell us about experiences we have never had. These conversations help us grow intellectually and emotionally. In simple words, social skills open many doors in life. They help us build friendships, succeed in our careers, communicate better, and feel more confident. They also allow us to learn from others and create meaningful connections. When we develop these skills, we are not only improving our conversations, we are improving our ability to live, work, and grow together with the people around us. Common problems people face in social situations. Now let's talk about some common problems people face in social situations. Many people believe that they are the only ones who feel nervous or uncomfortable when talking to others. But the truth is that many people experience the same challenges. Social situations can sometimes feel difficult, especially when we are in a new environment or when we do not know the people around us. Understanding these common problems can help us realize that our feelings are normal and that many others feel the same way. One very common problem is the fear of talking to strangers. When we meet someone we do not know, our mind may start asking many questions. We might think, "What should I say?" Or, "What if the conversation becomes awkward?" Because of these thoughts, some people choose to stay silent instead of starting a conversation. For example, imagine joining a new class. You walk into the room, see many unfamiliar faces, and feel unsure about how to start talking to someone. Even a simple greeting can feel difficult in that moment. This fear is very common, and it often happens because we are worried about how the other person will react. Another common challenge is the fear of making mistakes. Many people want their words to be perfect before they speak. They worry about saying something wrong, using the wrong words, or expressing their ideas in an unclear way. Because of this fear, they sometimes avoid speaking completely. This is especially true for people who are learning a new language. When someone is speaking English, for example, they may worry about pronunciation, grammar, or vocabulary. These worries can make conversations feel stressful instead of enjoyable. People also often struggle with not knowing what to say. Even when someone wants to talk, they might feel that their mind becomes empty in social situations. They may not know how to begin a conversation or how to continue it. This can happen during simple situations like meeting a new coworker or attending a social event. For example, imagine attending a meeting at work where many people are discussing ideas. You may want to share your thoughts, but you might hesitate because you are unsure how to express them clearly. Another common difficulty is feeling shy in groups. Some people feel comfortable speaking with one person, but feel very nervous when there are many people in the conversation. In group situations, there may be several voices, different opinions, and faster discussions. This can make someone feel overwhelmed or afraid of interrupting others. As a result, they may stay quiet even if they have something valuable to say. Over time, this can make them feel less confident in group environments. Many people also spend a lot of time worrying about what others think of them. They may ask themselves questions like, "Do people think I sound strange?" Or, "What if they judge me?" These thoughts can create unnecessary pressure. Instead of focusing on the conversation, the person becomes focused on their own fears and doubts. This makes communication harder because they are not fully present in the moment. For English learners, another important challenge is the language barrier. When someone is speaking in a second language, communication naturally becomes more difficult. They may understand some parts of the conversation but miss other parts. They might need more time to think about their words before responding. For example, imagine speaking English with someone who speaks very quickly. You may understand the main idea, but you may still feel unsure about how to answer confidently. This situation can make some learners feel shy or nervous about participating in conversations. Situations like speaking English with others, joining a new class, or attending meetings can sometimes feel uncomfortable because of these challenges. But it is important to remember that these feelings are normal. Almost everyone experiences them at some point. Even people who appear confident today may have felt the same way in the past. The difference is that they continued practicing social interactions and slowly became more comfortable. Recognizing these common problems is the first step toward improving social skills. When we understand that fear, shyness, and uncertainty are natural parts of communication, we can begin to face them with patience instead of avoiding them. Each small conversation is an opportunity to learn and grow. Over time, these challenges become smaller, and social situations begin to feel more natural and enjoyable. The good news: social skills can be learned. Now here is the good news: social skills can be learned. No matter how shy you feel today, or how difficult conversations seem right now, it is possible to improve. Social communication is not something that only a few lucky people can do. It is a skill, and like any other skill, it grows with time and practice. When people understand this idea, they often feel more hopeful and motivated. Instead of thinking, "I am just not a social person," they begin to think, "I can learn this step by step." One of the most important ways to improve social skills is practice. Just like learning anything new, practice helps the brain become more comfortable with the activity. The first few conversations may feel awkward or difficult, and that is completely normal. But every time you speak with someone, greet a person, or ask a simple question, you are practicing. With each experience, your mind becomes more familiar with social situations, and the fear slowly becomes smaller. Another helpful way to learn social skills is through observation. You can learn a lot simply by watching how other people communicate. Notice how they greet others, how they listen during conversations, and how they respond when someone is speaking. Many confident communicators use very simple techniques. They smile, make eye contact, ask questions, and show interest in what the other person is saying. By observing these behaviors, you can begin to understand how positive communication works. Patience is also very important when learning social skills. Change does not happen overnight. Sometimes people want immediate results, but real improvement usually happens slowly. At the beginning, you may still feel nervous or unsure in some situations. That is completely normal. Instead of feeling disappointed, it is better to remind yourself that every small step is progress. Even a short conversation or a friendly greeting is a positive action that helps you grow. Social skills also improve through small daily actions. You do not need to make big changes all at once. Small actions are often the most powerful way to improve. For example, you might start by greeting a neighbor, asking a coworker how their day is going, or having a short conversation with a classmate. These simple interactions may seem small, but they help build comfort and confidence over time. Learning social skills is very similar to learning English vocabulary. When you learn a new language, you usually do not memorize hundreds of words in one day. Instead, you learn a few words each day and repeat them many times. Slowly, those words become familiar, and you begin using them naturally in conversations. The same process happens with social communication. Each conversation teaches you something new about how to interact with people. We can also compare it to practicing pronunciation. At first, some sounds in English may feel difficult to say, but when you practice regularly, your mouth and your ears become more comfortable with those sounds. Over time, your pronunciation improves. Social communication develops in a similar way. The more you speak, listen, and interact with people, the more natural it feels. Another good comparison is building a habit. Many habits in life become easier when we repeat them regularly. For example, exercising, reading, or studying becomes part of our routine when we practice it every day. Social skills can become a habit too. When you make small efforts to communicate with people each day, your brain slowly learns that these interactions are normal and safe. The most important message to remember is simple. Small social actions every day create big confidence later. A short greeting today, a small conversation tomorrow, and a few friendly questions the next day can slowly build strong communication skills. Over time, these small steps create a big change. One day you may realize that conversations feel easier and that you are more relaxed when meeting new people. This is how social confidence grows, one small step at a time. Simple social skills everyone can practice. Now let's talk about some simple social skills that everyone can practice in daily life. The good thing about social skills is that they do not need special talent or special knowledge. They are small actions that anyone can learn and practice step by step. When people practice these small skills regularly, communication becomes easier and more natural. Over time, these simple habits can greatly improve the way we connect with others. One of the simplest and most powerful social skills is smiling and using friendly body language. A smile is a universal sign of kindness and openness. When you smile at someone, it shows that you are friendly and comfortable. People usually feel more relaxed when they see a genuine smile. Friendly body language also includes things like standing or sitting in a relaxed way, making eye contact, and turning your body toward the person who is speaking. For example, imagine you enter a classroom or an office. If you smile at someone and look at them when you say hello, the interaction immediately feels warmer and more positive. Another important social skill is greeting people. Greetings are small but meaningful moments of communication. A simple hello, good morning, or how are you can start a positive interaction. Many people underestimate how powerful greetings can be. For example, when you see your neighbor in the morning and say, "Good morning," you are building a friendly connection. In a workplace, greeting your coworkers when you arrive can create a welcoming environment. These small moments help people feel recognized and respected. A third useful skill is asking simple questions. Questions help keep conversations moving and show that you are interested in the other person. The questions do not need to be complicated. In fact, simple questions often work best. For example, you might ask a classmate, "How did you find today's lesson?" Or ask a coworker, "How is your project going?" These questions give the other person a chance to share their thoughts. When people feel that someone is interested in what they say, conversations naturally become more comfortable and meaningful. Another very important skill is active listening. Listening may seem easy, but truly listening to someone requires attention and focus. Active listening means paying close attention to the person who is speaking instead of thinking about what you will say next. It also means showing that you are listening through small responses. For example, you might nod your head, say, "I see," or respond with short comments like, "That's interesting." These simple reactions show the speaker that you are engaged in the conversation and that their words are important to you. A helpful social skill that many people forget is remembering names. When you remember someone's name and use it in conversation, it makes the interaction feel more personal. People usually feel appreciated when someone remembers their name. For example, if you meet a new coworker named Anna and later say, "Good morning, Anna," it shows that you paid attention when she introduced herself. Even small efforts to remember names can create a stronger connection between people. Another important skill is showing interest in others. Conversations become more enjoyable when both people feel valued and understood. Showing interest can be very simple. It might mean asking a follow-up question, reacting positively to what someone says, or encouraging them to continue speaking. For example, if a friend tells you about a trip they recently took, you might respond by saying, "That sounds wonderful. Where did you go?" This kind of response shows that you care about their story and want to hear more. Finally, one more useful social skill is giving simple compliments. A sincere compliment can brighten someone's day and create a positive atmosphere. Compliments do not need to be big or dramatic. Simple and honest words are often the best. For example, you might tell a coworker, "I really liked your presentation today," or say to a classmate, "You explained that idea very clearly." These small positive comments help people feel appreciated and respected. When we practice these simple social skills, smiling, greeting people, asking questions, listening carefully, remembering names, showing interest, and giving compliments, we slowly become better communicators. These actions may seem small, but together they create strong and positive interactions. With regular practice, they help us build friendships, communicate more confidently, and create meaningful connections with the people around us. Social skills and learning English. Now let's talk about something that is especially important for you as an English learner: the connection between social skills and learning English. Many people think that learning a language only means studying grammar, memorizing vocabulary, and reading books. These things are important, of course, but language learning is also a social activity. A language is meant to be used with other people. This means that the more social you are, the more opportunities you create to practice English in real life. One of the biggest benefits of being social is that it helps you practice conversations. Conversations are one of the most effective ways to improve a language. When you talk with someone, you must listen, understand, think, and respond. This process helps your brain become faster and more comfortable with the language. Even short conversations can make a big difference. For example, speaking with a friend for a few minutes in English can help you practice sentence structure, word order, and natural communication. Being social also helps you improve your pronunciation. When you speak with others regularly, you hear how they pronounce words and sentences. You can observe the rhythm and sound of natural English. When you repeat words and sentences during conversations, your mouth and ears slowly become more familiar with the language. Over time, your pronunciation becomes clearer and more natural. This kind of improvement often happens faster through conversation than through studying alone. Another benefit is building your vocabulary. When you talk with different people, you hear new words and expressions in real situations. Sometimes someone might use a word that you do not know, and you can ask about its meaning. In other situations, you might learn new words simply by listening to how people speak. These real-life experiences help vocabulary stay in your memory because you learn the words in a meaningful context. Social interaction also helps you learn natural expressions. Many expressions in English are not always found in textbooks. People often use everyday phrases that sound natural in conversation. When you interact with others, you begin to notice these expressions and understand how they are used. For example, simple phrases like, "That makes sense," "I see what you mean," or "That's a good point," are very common in natural English conversations. Another important benefit is gaining confidence. At the beginning, speaking English with others may feel uncomfortable. You might worry about grammar mistakes or about not finding the right word. But when you speak regularly, these worries slowly become smaller. Each conversation helps you realize that communication is possible, even if your English is not perfect. Confidence grows little by little as you gain more experience speaking. Because of these benefits, it is very helpful to create more opportunities to speak English with others. You can talk with friends who are also learning English. Even simple daily conversations can help both of you practice and improve together. You can also join English groups where people meet to practice speaking. In these groups, everyone understands that the goal is to learn, so it becomes easier to speak without fear. Another great idea is to practice with a speaking partner. A partner can help you practice regularly, share new vocabulary, and correct mistakes in a supportive way. Most importantly, Remember that it is okay to speak even if mistakes happen. Mistakes are a natural and necessary part of learning any language. Every time you speak, you gain more experience and improve your ability to communicate. In the end, being social gives you something very valuable: real opportunities to use English. The more you interact with people, the more your listening, speaking, vocabulary, and confidence will grow. Language learning becomes much more enjoyable when it is connected to real conversations and real people. Daily habits to improve social skills. Now let's talk about some simple daily habits that can help you improve your social skills. The good thing about social skills is that you do not need to make big or dramatic changes in your life to improve them. In fact, small daily actions are often the most effective way to build better communication skills. When you repeat small positive actions every day, they slowly become natural habits. Over time, these habits can make you feel more comfortable and confident when interacting with people. One very simple habit you can start today is to greet one new person every day. This action may sound small, but it can have a big impact. Greeting someone shows friendliness and openness. It can be as simple as saying, "Hello," "Good morning," or "How are you?" For example, you might greet a classmate before a lesson, say hello to a neighbor when you see them outside, or greet a coworker when you arrive at work. These small greetings create positive interactions and help you become more comfortable starting conversations. Another useful habit is to ask at least one question during a conversation. Questions are powerful because they show interest in the other person and help keep the conversation moving. The question does not need to be complicated. For example, you might ask a coworker, "How is your day going?" Or ask a classmate, "Did you understand today's lesson?" When you ask questions, the other person has a chance to share their thoughts, and the conversation becomes more natural and engaging. You can also practice making comfortable eye contact when speaking with someone. Eye contact is an important part of communication because it shows attention and respect. When you look at the person who is speaking, it tells them that you are focused on the conversation. Of course, eye contact does not mean staring continuously, but simply looking at the person naturally while they speak and when you respond. Another helpful habit is to listen more than you speak. Many people believe that being social means talking a lot, but good communication actually depends a lot on listening. When you listen carefully, you understand the other person better, and your responses become more meaningful. People also appreciate someone who truly listens to them. Listening helps build trust and makes conversations more enjoyable for both people. It is also helpful to join small conversations whenever possible. These conversations may happen in many daily situations. For example, you might join a short discussion with classmates before a lesson begins, participate in a small conversation during a break at work, or talk with friends about daily topics. These short conversations give you regular practice and help you become more comfortable speaking with different people. The most important thing to remember is that small habits create big results over time. At the beginning, these actions may feel a little uncomfortable or unfamiliar, and that is completely normal. But when you repeat them regularly, they slowly become part of your natural behavior. Greeting people, asking questions, listening carefully, and joining conversations are all simple actions, but together They help build strong communication skills. Over time, these small daily habits can transform the way you interact with others. Conversations become easier, social situations feel less stressful, and your confidence grows naturally. Step by step, these simple actions help you develop stronger social skills and create more meaningful connections with the people around you. Reflection. Questions for listeners. Speak in practice. Now let's take a small moment for reflection and speak in practice. Listening is a very important part of learning English, but speaking is just as important. One of the best ways to improve your speaking skills is to pause. Think about a question and try to answer it aloud. When you speak your thoughts out loud, your brain practices forming sentences, choosing words, and expressing ideas in English. This is why reflection questions can be very helpful for language learners. In this part of the podcast, I encourage you to pause the audio from time to time and answer the questions in your own words. Do not worry about perfect grammar or perfect pronunciation. The goal is simply to practice expressing your ideas. Speaking even a few sentences can help you become more comfortable using English in real conversations. Let's start with the first question. Are you comfortable talking with new people? Think about situations where you meet someone for the first time. For example, imagine meeting a new classmate, a coworker, or a neighbor. Do you feel relaxed and ready to talk? Or do you feel nervous and unsure about what to say? Take a moment to think about your experience and try to describe it in a few sentences. Here's another question for you to think about. What makes you feel shy in conversations? Many people feel shy for different reasons. Some people worry about making mistakes. Others worry about how people might judge them. Sometimes the problem is simply not knowing how to start a conversation. Think about your own experiences and try to explain what usually makes conversations difficult for you. Now consider this question. How often do you start conversations with other people? Starting a conversation can feel challenging, but it is a very important social skill. Think about your daily life. Do you usually wait for other people to start talking? Or do you sometimes begin the conversation yourself? For example, do you greet people first, ask questions, or make small comments to begin a discussion? Here is one more important question. What social skill would you like to improve the most? Maybe you want to become better at starting conversations, asking questions, or listening carefully. Perhaps you want to feel more confident speaking in groups or sharing your ideas. Take a moment to think about one skill you would like to develop and explain why it is important for you. These reflection questions are not only about thinking, they are also about speaking practice. When you answer them aloud, you train your brain to organize thoughts and express them in English. This practice helps you become more comfortable speaking in real-life situations. Even if your sentences are simple, every time you speak, you are improving your fluency and confidence. So remember, learning English is not only about listening to information, it is also about using the language actively. Take your time, pause when you need to, and answer these questions in your own words. The more you practice speaking like this, the easier communication will become in the future. As we come to the end of today's episode, let's remember one very important idea. Confidence comes from practice. Many people believe that confident people are simply born that way, but in reality, confidence usually grows slowly over time. Social skills develop step by step through experience. At the beginning, conversations may feel a little uncomfortable. You might not always know what to say, and sometimes you may feel shy or nervous. This is completely normal. Everyone who is confident today once started from the same place. It is important to remember that social skills grow slowly, just like any other skill. Nobody becomes confident overnight. Think about the examples we discussed earlier. Learning English, learning a sport, or learning to drive all require patience and regular practice. Social communication works in exactly the same way. The more you interact with people, the more familiar these situations become. Your brain slowly learns how to respond, how to listen, and how to share ideas more comfortably. Another key idea is that practice makes conversations easier. The first few conversations may require a lot of effort, but each new interaction becomes a learning experience. Even small conversations are valuable. Greeting someone, asking a question, or joining a short discussion are all forms of practice. These moments help your mind become more relaxed in social situations. Over time, conversations begin to feel more natural and less stressful. It is also helpful to remember that every conversation is a learning opportunity. Sometimes conversations go very well, and sometimes they feel a little awkward. Both experiences are useful. When a conversation goes well, it builds confidence and shows you what works. When a conversation feels difficult, it still teaches you something new about communication. In both cases, you are gaining experience that will help you in future interactions. So I would like to encourage you to speak more whenever you have the chance. Do not wait for the perfect moment or the perfect sentence. Communication does not need to be perfect to be meaningful. Simple conversations are often the most powerful way to build confidence and improve your social skills. At the same time, continue to practice your English as much as possible. Listening, speaking, and interacting with others will help your language skills grow naturally. Most importantly, try to connect with people around you. Human connection is one of the most valuable parts of life. When we talk, listen, and share ideas with others, we build relationships and learn new perspectives. These interactions help us grow, not only as language learners, but also as individuals. Before we finish today's episode, I would like to say thank you very much for listening. I truly appreciate the time you spend learning and practicing English with this podcast. Your dedication and effort are very important, and every step you take is progress. Remember that learning a language and improving social skills both require patience and consistency, so keep practicing a little every day. I hope today's discussion about social skills has given you new ideas and motivation. Try to practice some of the small habits we talked about and slowly build your confidence through daily conversations. And of course, I invite you to join me again in the next episode, where we will explore another interesting topic while continuing to practice English together. Until next time, keep learning, keep speaking, and take care.